Live? All right. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Shadid here. Mr. Islam Answers back with a special live show tonight. Let's see here. I can't see myself on the screen, so let's see what's going on here. With a special live show tonight. All right. Now, how do we get the picture working? What's going on with the picture here? There we go. Okay. All right. Let's see here. All right. So can we be seen? Now the thing is, how can I see the text of everybody? That's what I need to know. Good, we got people tuning in. How can I see the chat? Oh, okay, walaikum salam. There you go. Okay, walaikum salam, King Kareem. Walaikum salam. Let's spread the word. Let's get everybody on. Let's let everybody know we got a special show going on tonight. Okay. So this time we're doing it from the laptop. So we got a little test going on here. Hopefully everything working out all right. I see the guys, everybody's chat here on the side. Good, good. I wonder how can I do like if I want to see the screen also. Okay, like what do I do if I want to see the screen? Well, this is the real time here. So, all right. Good. People are tuning in. People are tuning in. So, before we get things started, like I said before, hopefully you guys can see the title. You should be able to see the title of tonight's show in the description area. Again, the links for the donations are in the description area also. So before we go any further, let's make that clear. If you want to donate at any time, whether it's on this while I'm doing the live show or any time after the show, you can always see the links to donate in the description area of the video. And again, you can donate straight through PayPal, or you can donate on the link that takes you to the website, which still takes you to PayPal, but you can do it that way. And of course, if you prefer, you can use a super chat as well. You can also do a super chat as well. You're saying the screen, you got the, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the wall is actually, like, when I'm looking at it, it's actually like a white, it's like an off-white color, right? It's actually off-white, but I see on the computer, it looks yellow. I don't know why it looks so so strongly yellow like that, but yeah, it looks yellow on there. Right? It's actually looking pretty kind of yellow on there. But you know, nonetheless. So again, everybody, you should be able to see the links in the description area of the video, right? The topic is there and the links to donate are there. Okay? So like I said, spread the word. Let's get some more people to tune in tonight. Hopefully we can get people to tune in like we do on our Friday show. But like I had said before, that whenever something comes up, we may do some special, you know, we may do some special shows whenever something pops up. All right. And so something did pop up today. I was on Facebook and I saw this article. Actually, I was watching a speaker, this brother by the name of Wesley Muhammad, and he was talking about the feminization, right, or the feminization of particularly of black boys here and black men here in America. But he showed how the agenda is really bigger than that, and he showed this article, which I saw, and I was like, wow. So he showed this article, which I'm going to show you guys in a moment. He showed this article about there's this study. The State Department wants to do a study. Matter of fact, let me see if I can get this on the screen. Let's see. How do we do that? Scene, right? Let's see. Scene. We want to get that on the screen. Let's see. Scene 2. Okay. All right. Now, how can I get it on the screen? Let's see here. I want to be able to show the article on the screen. Let's see if I can do that. How do we do that? How do we do that? Screen capture. Let's see here. All right. How do we properties add? Okay. Let's see. Browser source. Okay. Browser source. Is that it? Is that how it works? Color, display, capture. Um, window capture. Let's see. Window capture. Let's see. There's nothing there. All right. So bear with me. We're still learning this. Let's see. So browser source. Browser source. Okay. Browser source. Create new. How do we do that? How do we get the browser source? I mean, do I have to like copy the link or something? Let's see. Copy the link. Where do we post it? I don't know how this works here. Create new. How does this work? Do I have to paste? Okay, URL. All right, let's see if that works. Okay, we'll put the URL there. Let's see if this will work. Okay, cool. There you go. All right, yes, perfect. Can you guys see that? You guys can see that on the screen? Let's see. Let me see. You guys see that on the screen? There, all right, there it pops up right there. Okay, there you go. All right, so yeah, so you see that right there? That's the article right there. The State Department, and yes, Fox News, right? Browser source would be the browser. Yeah, okay, so there it is. So you see that? You can see that on the screen, right? The State Department is going to spend 592,500 to explore gender identities of boys and men in Kenya. Okay? Very interesting. So as I said, the brother that I was watching, he was talking about the effeminization, particularly he was dealing with black men, black boys and black men in America, right? And then he showed how it's really a bigger agenda that they want, as you can see here. So you ask yourself the question, why do they want to study that? Like, why? Like, well, you know what I mean? Like, what purpose does it serve for them to want to study gender identities in Kenya? Like, you know, like what does that got to do with anything? See? But the article goes on to tell us. Let's look at it. Let's go to the article. Let's see. Now the question is, will I be able to let's see. Make it bigger on the screen. Okay. All right. Now, how can we scroll down in the article? How do we do that? Is there a way to do that? So I want you guys to be able to see what I'm reading. Let's see. How does that work? How do you do that part? Let's see. Properties. Okay. Width, height. Okay. How can I, let's see, shut down source when not visible? Refresh browser. Refresh browser when scene becomes active. How can I scroll down on the, like, to see the article, right? So I want to be able to read the article to you guys. Let's see what they're talking about in the article. That's what I want to be able to show. All right, so how can I show you guys what the article shows in the article? Is that this here? Let's see. scroll down. That's not it. Hmm. All right, now that's the part I don't know how to do. How can I show you the article itself? Like scroll down on the article. That's what I like to know. How we do that part. Profile. How do you scroll down on the article? No, that's not it. Refresh browser body. Uh, hmm. Man, okay, I don't know. That's the part I don't know how to do. Oh, okay, wait, I see it here. I see it. Okay. Wait, no, that's good. All right. It looks like they're showing. All right, it's showing the the sidebar, but I can't. Man, I can't scroll down on it though. That's what I like to know. How do I do that? How can I scroll down on the thing? You guys know how to do that part? Because that's the part I do not know how to do. Okay. All right. Well, here let me just read the article to you then. Okay. So basically, it says the State Department announced a $600,000 taxpayer-funded study that suggests ideals of masculinity in Kenya are contributing to terrorism. Okay, now that's strange, right? Like like that's weird. Like, what masculinity is like, you see what I'm saying? And this is the thing about our country here, United States. They always want to find some other reason to avoid dealing with the true causes of terrorism, right? Like, how the hell is masculinity the problem of terrorism rather than America's foreign policy? America's, like, as I've showed you many times before on this show, where I refer to the article by Glenn Greenwald, where he documents and shows that, according to the terrorists themselves, the motive of their attacks, not saying that they're right, they make that claim, they make that clear, not saying that they're right, but according to them, their motive for what they do, of course, it's not masculinity. It's not because they're too masculine. It's because of America's foreign policy. Killing most of the time, if not all the time, their common denominator is the killing of innocent Muslims, invasion of Muslim countries. That's what they say their motive is. So why the hell is the State Department having a taxpayer-funded study that suggests that it's the ideals of masculinity in Kenya? In Kenya? That's contributing to terrorism? So, as I said, the brother Wesley Muhammad, he was showing that the agenda is more than really just terrorism, right? He was kind of putting it into the context is that basically what they want or what they don't want is they don't want any challenges to their, to their power, right? That's what he basically showed, how they don't really want a challenge to their power. So he tied it into, as I said, the emasculation or the effeminization of men, especially black men here in America. In that, as you know, the history of America, America has always had this thing against black people in America, a history of that, right? And so he showed how even back during the civil rights movement, back during the Malcolm X time period and all the stuff like that, right? Here, while I'm talking, let me go back to the other scene once you can see me while I'm talking. That back during the civil rights era, they did not want, they realized that if they kept treating black people how they were treating black people, that they would have more problems as they do, as they did with the Malcolm X's, the Black Panthers, and various other, black leadership and black groups that were trying to basically fight against white racism, right? If you're using OBS, then you open. Yeah, that's what I'm using, bro. Yeah, then you open the OBS window and right click. It has an option to interact with the Windows store that allows you to interact. Okay, all right. So let's see. So you open the OBS window and right click. All right. So let me see. Let me try that. Let me try that. Okay. So let's go back to scene 2. You said right click it. Okay. Right click. Although on my laptop. Okay. Okay. Interact. Okay. There we go. Interact. Interact. Ah, yes. There you go, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, interact. All right, but now where is the scroll thing? How can I scroll down? It won't let me scroll down though. How do I do that? Yeah, let's see. Hmm. All right, now that probably won't let me. It's not letting me scroll down or anything like that. Man, I want you guys to be able to see that. Man, yeah, it won't let me. Man, feature is what's that you say? Not sure what scroll feature is like with your mouse. Try down. Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was using the up and down arrow keys on the laptop because I'm using the not the mouse, but you know the what they call that area where you move your finger around to move the cursor around. That's what I'm using. Hmm. Man. Okay. I don't know. Wait. Maybe I pressed the wrong one. It says interact filters, order, remove filters, enable preview, lock previews, full screen projector. All right. Well, like I said, I see the part where it says interact, and it does bring that screen open, but it won't let me. Do I have to open it up wider or something? No, that's not working. Man, all right. Well, I'll have to just get used to. I'll have to get used to it over time. All right. So let me go back to what I was saying. So let's just go back. So yeah. So basically, I was like, he was saying that after the civil rights movement, they realized that they could not have these type of problems, right? They realized that if things kept going the way they were, that they would have more black men rising up. There would be more Malcolm X's to come. There would be more, Bobby Seals and Fred Hamptons and Huey P. Newtons and Black Panthers and things like that. So he documented how they realized how they had a study where they realized they had to find a way to basically, yeah, neutralize black male masculinity, right? Because if not, then obviously men being men are gonna feel that they have to defend themselves, defend their people, defend their women, their children, and do something to deal with white supremacy, white racism. Okay, and so what he was showing was that this article that I just showed you, basically is that same thing, but on a global scale. Where, as again, why again Kenya? That's so like random. Like why Kenya? But basically showing that that same agenda of trying to stop any more Malcolm X's, any more Black Panthers from rising up is the same thing globally. They realize that they have to stop Muslim male masculinity because that's the challenge, right? That's going to be the challenge. If things keep going the way they're going, then obviously men being men, which is the right of a man, is to stand up and protect his people, protect himself, protect his nation, protect his woman, his children, his country. Exactly, right? So he was saying that and that's what it says in the article, that as you heard I just read, that they realize that according to them, that's the problem. Like I said, now again, this is of course allowing them to negate the fact that the real cause of terrorism is not masculinity, male masculinity, Muslim or African masculinity, but the injustices that they perpetrate against the people. Right? Again, this does not justify terrorism acts against, but the cause, we have to acknowledge what the cause is, right? And so this is what he's showing, that that's the reason why they want to study this this male gender thing. And so what I think this is really, the translation of this is, we need to find a way to effeminize Muslim men or black African men, Muslim men in general, or whatever. Again, in this case, since they're concentrating on Kenya, we need to find a way to effeminize black men, black Muslim men, because they pose a challenge to white racism, white domination, white supremacy, American Western global domination. This stands in the way. So we need to find a way to basically do what we're doing in America and effeminize men and boys in Kenya. Perhaps introduce some kind of homosexuality to them. Introduce the gay agenda like here in America, right? Introduce the gay agenda. Introduce homosexuality. Effeminize them. Weaken them. Take them away from being men. So here, let me read some more of the article to you. I apologize that I don't know how to work this quite yet to get it on the screen, but let me read some more to you. It says that, as I said, the State Department announced a new $600,000 taxpayer-funded study that suggests ideals of masculinity in Kenya are contributing to terrorism. The department's Bureau of Counterterrorism is seeking a nonprofit group to explore gender identities of boys and men in Kenya. The grant proposal states that men being tough, okay, this is me talking, aren't men, isn't that what masculinity is? We're supposed to be tough. But let me read it, right? It says the proposal states that men being tough, heterosexual, aggressive, unemotional, and listen to this, and achieving can make them vulnerable to joining Islamic extremist groups. Really? So basically, being a man is going to make you join an Islamic group, an extremist group. Really? That you see what I'm saying? You see how strange this sounds? How this doesn't make sense? Those are all the characteristics of a real man. Tough, heterosexual, aggressiveness, right? Unemotional to a certain degree, and achieving. Like, isn't that what makes a man, that he's tough, he's heterosexual, meaning he likes to be with a woman in the Islamic sense, in the proper manner, right? His aggressiveness, right? Your testosterone makes you a little bit aggressive, but that's what helps you get by. That's what helps you survive as a man. That's what helps you fight when you got to fight. That's what helps you jump into defense mode to defend yourself, your family, your women, your children, right? You're achieving, right? Isn't that what makes a man? Because he has to achieve. He knows he has to achieve to take care of himself. He has to achieve to make progress for himself, his family, his country. But to them, this is the problem, they say. This is what's making them vulnerable to Islamic extremist groups. Again, rather than, as we've already seen, rather than unjust invasions, oppression, racism, bombing, killing innocent children and women and all that stuff. No, that's not the problem. Being a man, basically, being a man who has the characteristics of a man is the problem. It says gender is increasingly recognized as an essential aspect to understanding and countering violent terrorism throughout the world. This doesn't make any sense, brothers and sisters. This doesn't make any sense. What in the hell is going on? Gender is increasingly recognized? See, and again, like I said, this is how they get away from dealing with their injustices. This is how they get away from dealing with and addressing the evil that they perpetrate upon the world. So instead of acknowledging the evil that you do, you're going to turn to some BS excuse that it's gender, it's roles of masculinity. That is the problem. But see, that's what the brother Wesley was talking about. That's basically what. So basically, you got to translate this. What they're saying in translation is that men being men, basically, or rather, the oppressed men who are our targets, they are a threat to us. They're a threat to white power. They're a threat to Western domination. The men who are from the targeted groups that we want to oppress, that we want to take over, destroy, occupy, whatever, or make sure that we stay in power. Men from the groups that we target are a threat. So therefore, we got to find a way to neutralize them as men, neutralize their manhood, right? Take away their manhood. This is basically what's being said here, right? This is basically what's being said here, right? Wa alaikum salam, Yusuf Chebi. Wa alaikum salam, right? Basically, this is what they're saying, that this is what the problem is. So let's continue to read. It says, the State Department said, to date, research and interventions on gender in Kenya have predominantly focused on the role of women and girls in violent extremism. However, men and boys are disproportionately recruited by and join terrorist groups and carry out terrorist operations. In Kenya, there currently exists no CVE, counter-violent extremism programming dedicated to the role of gender of boys and men and vulnerability to violent terrorism. So again, this is why, you know, we see that in America, they taught, many people have the argument that this is why they taught us black people Christianity. This is why they teach, this is why they wanted us to accept Christianity as black people in America. And why you see that they don't practice. Remember I talked about that on a few episodes ago, where I talked about how they don't really practice what they preach. Remember that? Remember when I talked about that? How I said they don't practice what they preach, right? Yusef, brother Yusef, there's an article out that I'm talking about right now that talks about how the State Department wants to study gender identities in Kenya. And the claim is that it is basically male masculinity that is contributing to terrorism, right? So basically, a man being a man, meaning he wants to defend himself from an invader, he wants to defend himself from an attacker, right? That this is what makes, this is what the issue. Did I? I don't know if I said that. I don't know if I brought that up back then against Nabil. But as I was saying is that, yeah, so basically that's what they're saying though. They're saying that, you know, again, in translation, when we translate what they're saying, put it in translated, decode it, we're decoding it. When we decode it, we realize that that's what they're saying. That basically they don't want the men of the people that they want to dominate over to be men. So they want to emasculate you or effeminize you. And as I was saying, that's what they were doing with, this is why they wanted, especially particularly black people in America, to accept Christianity. Because when we accept it, what does that make you? It makes you what? You want to turn the other cheek. You love your enemy. If what does it say? If the person wants to take your coat, give it to him. If he smacks you in the face, you turn the other cheek. You love your enemy. You be docile. You be passive, and you let whoever it is who wants to do evil to you, basically you let them walk over you. But as I said, you notice that they don't practice this, right? Remember I talked about that. I say they don't practice this. Yeah, well, I know I did talk about it a little bit, but I don't know if I talked about this particular thing in particular, you said. But you're right. I did bring up some of the racial issues in Christianity in this land, right? But yeah, so right, exactly. So Malcolm X said the opposite, and so that's exactly the point. They don't want any more Malcolm X's. They want to make sure, and that's why you notice we haven't really had. There hasn't been another Malcolm X, right? Although Brother Sammy said that I was like the new Malcolm X, but you know, unfortunately, I don't have the, you know, the reach that Malcolm X had in his time. Maybe inshallah, we'll get there. Inshallah, maybe we'll get there, inshallah. But you know, Brother Sammy did say that one time that I was like the Malcolm X of his time. Appreciate that, if Sammy, if you ever see this, I definitely appreciate those words back then. But what was I saying? But basically, like you're saying, still, we don't have a Malcolm X on the level of that Malcolm X was on in this day and time. Matter of fact, we don't even have a Martin Luther King, right? We don't even have a Martin Luther King, even though he was preaching Christianity and turning the other cheek and all that. We don't even have a Martin Luther King. We don't have any Black Panthers. There is the new Black Panther group, but they're not on the level of the Black Panthers, the original Black Panthers. So we really don't have the leadership that is militant like it was back then. And that's what the brother Wesley Muhammad was talking about, showing how, you know, this is by design. This is by design that that hasn't been any, you know, militants to rise up. It's by design. Because they practice the effeminization. They've introduced, those of you who may be in America or see American, I don't know how it is in the UK or in some of your other countries, but you see how in America now the homosexuality agenda has been what? It's been accepted, right? the LBGT thing has been basically accepted now. So now that you can see it in movies, you see it in TV shows. There's always they have to throw in a gay character or a gay story. You know, sometimes I've even seen movies where they throw in a gay part to the story, and I'm like, yo, the gay, it has nothing. It's completely out of play. It doesn't even have any relevance in the story, in the movie. Like, they didn't even have to put it in the movie, but for some reason they threw in a little gay character and a little gay stuff, and I'm like, it really had nothing to do with the movie. They didn't have to put that in there, but they did. See, they did. And as you know, TV and movies and all that stuff, it programs you. So now, you know, gays getting married and the homosexual lifestyle and all that, now it's acceptable, right? Now it's acceptable. They have all these shows. There was this show that came out some time ago called you might have seen, maybe it's called, what's it called? I think it's called the Prancing Elites or the Dancing Elites. It's a bunch of gay black men who are like cheerleaders, basically. They actually have a show. I don't know if it still comes on, but they actually had a show on what was it? I think is it TLC? One of those shows, one of those cable channels, and they call it the Prancing Elites or the Dancing Elites or something like that. And it's a group of black men who look like, you know, they basically look like women. They're in like little, you know, it's crazy, man. And they're like cheerleaders. They dance and do these routines at shows and stuff like that. But that's how they're putting it and programming it into our society. And particularly look at us, right? There's no show like that about white men. Why didn't they make a show like that about white men? Why don't they promote a show like that about white men? Ask yourself that question, huh? Right? Why won't they make a show like that about white men and promote that? See what I'm saying? But so again, back to this article. Basically, that's what it. Oh yes, what I was saying was that yes. So in the civil rights movement, afterwards there were a lot of riots, right? There were a lot of riots that took place because, again, men being men were starting to get fed up with the oppression and starting to rise up. And so they realized that they needed to do something about this. They said, look, if we don't do something about this, in years to come, this is going to be a problem, right? Black men are going to, you know, as any man should, are going to get fed up with this, and we're going to have a problem on our hands. We need to find a way to neutralize this masculinity. We need to find a way to neutralize this, right? Weaken their masculinity, so that way they won't pose a threat. They won't want to stand up for themselves. They won't want to stand up for their people, for their women or whatever. And a lot of times you see that nowadays. There's been many videos here in the United States put up of black women being, you know, abused and beat up, and nobody does anything, right? Men around and black men around, and nobody stands up to defend the woman. They're damn near filming it. They're sitting there with their phone filming the woman get beat up in a store. There's been many videos put up, black women being beat up in Asian stores, in nail shops that are run by Asians. There was one that I saw maybe about last week. It was in a pizza shop. It looked like it was, I don't know, a pizza shop or an Italian restaurant or something like that, where the black woman, I don't know what the issue was, but the white guy, starts roughing her up. He starts roughing her. She wasn't like she threw a punch at him or anything like that, but he basically starts roughing her up. He roughs her up. He pushes her against the wall, and he treated her like she was a man. He basically headbutted her. He headbutts her in the face, punches her, takes her to the ground. He basically treated her like she was another man. But yet they want to talk about Muslim countries, right? They want to talk about how the people in the Middle East treat their women. But then when stuff like this happens, they don't have nothing to say. Police can beat up women. Police can punch women in the face, rough them up, slam them, all this stuff like that. But you want to talk about the Arabs in the Middle East and how they treat their women, right? So it's just, you know, it's amazing. But as I said, tying that in is that, yes, we see that unfortunately this is how a lot of men are acting. You know, they're not standing up. They're docile. They're passive. They've been emasculated. And so it's a whole systemic thing, right? The unemployment rate, the effeminization is all a type of programming making you feel less than a man, weakening your manhood, so that way you no longer pose a threat. And so tying this back into the article, right? Let's go back to the article. Tying this back into the article, right? State Department spending close to $600,000 to explore gender identities of boys and men in Kenya. And as you heard me reading from the article, That's what the problem is. They're saying basically the characteristics of being a real man. Your toughness, your heterosexuality, your aggressiveness, your achieving spirit. This to them, the article says that this has been stated as the problem. This is the problem. This is I mean, and that's amazing, right? That's amazing. So I take it, and the brother Wesley Muhammad was taking it to show that basically that's their agenda. They don't want a challenge. They don't want any challengers, right? They want to be the men of the world. So they can't have black men and Arab men and men of the groups of people that they want to oppress or dominate over. They can't have them being men, because if they're being men, they're gonna challenge, right? They're gonna challenge Western domination. So they want to study it, and I asked the question, which is strange. Yeah, why do they want to study that? Like, what do you to study it to do? What? Study it to do what? To find a way to weaken, right? Matter of fact, did any of you see this? This came out maybe a year ago or so, where it was released that supposedly the CIA would and them they were working on some type of gay bomb. Did anybody ever seen that story where they were working on a gay bomb? Some kind of bomb that they could drop and it'll release chemicals and it could make the soldiers kind of like turn into homosexuals with each other. Did anybody ever see that? Like I do on my other videos, when this show is over, I'm going to post the link to that story in the information section about the gay bomb, how they were working on a gay bomb. Now, who's to say that they didn't actually work, that they didn't actually achieve it, that they found a way? In fact, there was a scientist. I'll post that to you as well. That there are some chemicals. Obviously, there was a scientist who discovered that there was some chemicals in the water in some area or somewhere. I'll post the article also later after the show's over, where the scientists said that these chemicals in the water in this they seeped into this they leaked into this lake or this stream or something, and basically it was turning the fish like to females. It was turning the fish into females, or any frogs or any other creatures that were in this water. It was turning them into females. They were growing. They started to like grow, or somehow it started to transform their genitalia into female genitalia. They begin to grow female organ, breast, and all. It was weird, very weird. And it's real. This is real. I'm going to post that article as well in the information section, like I've done with my other videos. Whenever we talk about something, we provide you the links to those stories in the information section. So so obviously there is something out there that they have that can do this, right? That they can do this. You know, there's stuff in the foods. For example, soy, right? A lot of foods nowadays are made with soy, and from what I have read, soybeans, soy products, or whatever, has a lot of estrogen in it. And so if you're consuming a lot of these products that have this soy in it, these soy byproducts with all this estrogen in it, this can affect your manhood. Those who know biology, you know that estrogen is the female hormone and testosterone is the male hormone. Of course, both men and women have a level of both the opposite hormone in them, but not to the level that it would affect their femininity, and not to the level where it affects your masculinity. So men do have a level of estrogen in them, but it's at a minute level where obviously it does not affect your masculinity. However, if that is imbalanced, if the level of the estrogen is imbalanced, then it could start to have the man start to have female tendencies and vice versa. This is why when people get the sex change, when women get sex changes, the women who want to be a man, they then give them what? The testosterone supplements to up their testosterone levels. I believe, who was it? Who was it that did that? I don't know if you guys, are you familiar with the actress and singer Cher, right? Cher. I believe it was her daughter, excuse me. I believe it was her daughter who wanted to be a man, and they gave her, they started she wanted the sex change and all of that. So they gave her some testosterone supplements or injections or something like that. So she started to grow a beard. She starts to look like a man, so she can make her transformation to being a man. So with the soy and the food, they say that this can affect your testosterone levels as well. So this is the big agenda that's going on that we have to be aware of. So back to the article. Let's go back to the article. So as you see, basically, as you see from what I've read from the article thus far, is that basically they want to find a way to, and again, why would you want to study? Why would you want to study the masculinity of the boys and men in Kenya? Unless you want to try to find a way to what? Defeat it. That doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense. Why do you want to study their masculinity? If not, and then by telling us that you want to study it because the problem is that it leads to supposedly to terrorism, well, to me, that tells me that you want to study it so you can find a way to what? Defeat it. You want to study the masculinity of these people so you can find a way to what? Neutralize their masculinity, because obviously, according to you, it leads to terrorism, right? So it says, to remedy this, the State Department will spend, notice what they said, listen to the words of the article, to remedy this problem, which is the masculinity of the boys and men in Kenya. So to remedy, according to the article, to remedy this problem, the masculinity, the State Department will spend up to $592,500 on the masculinity and violent extremism study, which will be awarded to an American nonprofit or non-governmental organization later this year. The study will determine existing knowledge and gaps on male gender and violent extremism, as well as explore gender identities of boys and men in Kenya. The grant's proposal, listen to this, guys, the grant's proposal blames Kenya's patriarchal society, which means, it's male dominated. So to them, that's the problem. Again, this, if you can't decode this, you won't get it. But if you can decode this, you see what's going on. They're blaming their male dominated society as the problem. So that tells us that that's exactly what their agenda is. That's the problem. So they need to find a way to neutralize it. So what are they going to do? They want to turn it into a matriarchal society where the women are in control, right? That's what they want. They want the women to be in control, so that way the men are dominated by their women, turn you into a punk, a sissy, right? A weak man who being led by your woman, so that way when they invade and dominate you, the women are not going to fight, right? The women are not going to fight. And if you're dominated by your woman, you're a punk. You're a chump. You're a sissy. And when they invade your country and take your oil or your resources, you won't pose a threat to them. Because damn sure the women are not going to fight and defend the country. Right? So they'll be like, yeah, there we go. We got it. You're dominated by your women. You're weak. You're emasculated. You're effeminized. The society is now in control of women, and now we got you. And that's exactly when you look, as I said, when you look at for example, black society here in the United States, that's what they did to us, right? In black American society, it's mostly matriarchal. Most of the women dominate in black America. You look at the church. In the church, women predominate in the activities in the church. A lot of black men, they don't go to church. They're not that active in church, right? Even if the pastor is a man, everybody else is a woman. If the pastor is the man, leadership, the rest of the church administration is all a bunch of women in a lot of cases, right? In a lot of cases, the black church is dominated by women. Even if the male if the one man is the pastor, the rest of the leadership is women. See? And a lot of times when you look at the church, you'll see that even those men that are in the church, a lot of them are gay already, right? A lot of them are already gay. Look at the choir. A lot of the choir singers and stuff like that, a lot of them are gay men, right? They have feminine characteristics, right? Feminine tendencies and things of this nature. You see? So this is what they want. They want to. I can see that that's what they want to do with Kenya, because as you heard, as you saw what I read, they said that it's its patriarchal society is to blame. So I'm assuming that they want to turn it into a matriarchal society where the women are dominant and the women are in control and the women run things and the men are docile, passive, weak, and emasculated, and therefore no longer will pose a threat to them in their minds. So that's very devious. That's very devious. That's very devious. So that was the article that that was here on Fox News, and this is what I wanted. This is what I had to share with. This is why I wanted to do a special show, because I was like, man, we can't wait till next Friday to talk about this, right? We can't wait till next Friday to talk about this, because this is serious. Yeah, we definitely can't, you know, we definitely can't sleep on this. So, and you know, and of course, as you know, as you should know already, in Islam, you see, and see what I was just talking about with the church, Islam is the opposite, right? Islam is said to be the opposite. In Islam, men are more active in leadership roles. With the church, it's more women. With Islam, it's men, right? The men are the ones who frequent the mosque more than women. The men are the ones in leadership. The men are the ones who are in the leadership of, of the leadership positions of the church. So that's the thing with Islam. Islam promotes, you know, masculinity and femininity for the women, right? That's inherent in Islam. So they don't want that. So this is something to keep your eyes on, brothers and sisters. Keep your eyes on this phenomenon this study that they want to study of the masculinity of boys in Kenya. And as the article said, they're saying that really it's even bigger than Kenya. That, you know, it's global. That really global. They're looking at the masculinity of you know, men and boys globally. And again, concentrating on the places that they want to dominate, of course. So this is something that we definitely need to keep our eyes on, and I wanted to make you aware of this, and that's why we wanted to do this special show tonight, this evening. All right. Next show, unless something else comes up, will be next Friday. Next Friday, unless something comes up, I have some stuff I want to talk about in regards to some more David Wood videos. I was looking over some more of his videos, and there's some topics that he talked about that I want to tackle. One in particular, I saw he did a video about taqiyya. So I was thinking probably next Friday we'll address that. We'll do next week's show. Like I said, unless something comes up in the news, will be about that subject, about the his video on taqiyya. We'll do like we did last week, last Friday. We'll do a live refutation of, you know, we'll go by point and do a live refutation of his video on taqiyya. See what he's talking about, because again, I'm still amazed at this. You know, these videos. I did my video. Matter of fact, speaking on that, as we talked about before, I have the video. It's on YouTube, but if you want like a copy for yourself, you can order the copy of my video. What I did is called, the title is called Taqiyya, the lie they made up against Islam. You can get a copy of that. I'll put it in the description area of this video. Matter of fact, if you go to the website, the link that's in the description area of this video, if you go to that, click on that link, it'll take you to the donation area, but you'll also see the website. On the website, you can also see that I advertise that video. You can purchase it if you like. The Taqiyya, the lie they made up against Islam. You can get it there. All right. As I said, I also have my book, He Never Was God, How Scripture Shows That Jesus was a man rather than God. You can get a copy of that. All of these things can help support me. If you don't want to just make a donation, if you want to support it by those means, you can purchase the video. You can purchase the book. If you rather just make a donation, once again, the link in the description area of this video, you can make a donation through there, brothers and sisters. Okay, you can make a donation through there. So that's what we can look forward to for next week, where I will, like I said, unless something comes up, I'll do a video where we address the we address that video of David Wood where he's talking about taqiyya. What's this right here? Brother, did you know that if you go to his Answering Muslims website, on one of the tabs you will see a picture of the white Jesus? Well, you know, I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised by that. You know what I mean? I'm not surprised by that, you know, about the white Jesus, by him having a picture of white Jesus. You know, that's what Christian, that's really what I believe Christianity's thing is when it comes to Islam. That whether they admit it or not, whether they're consciously aware of it or subconscious, that's what it's about. It's about keeping the praise of this lily fake white Jesus, and that to them Islam is, you know, is a threat. They feel is a threat to that. That if Islam becomes dominant, that, you know, most people will stop worshiping fake white Jesus. Their white God will no longer be the object of worship, which, as Brother Ahmed Dept talked about, by, you know, I guess what's the word I'm looking for? By proxy, I guess, I don't know if that's the right word, but by I don't know, we'll say by proxy, this also ties into them and their place, because obviously if you worship in white Jesus and these are white people, you worship a God who looks like them. What is that saying, right? You're worshiping a white God who looks like white people. So what does that say about them? If their God looks like them and they can get the whole world to worship a God who looks like them, what does that mean? Subconsciously, that means, that shows, you might not catch it, but subconsciously, you're basically looking and saying that, hey, look, these people must be a little bit better than us, because God obviously is them. The God that we worship, he looks like them, right? He looks like them. The God of the world is a white man too. So if you can destroy that idea, then that takes away their position, their privilege in that stance, right? But like I said, those are some things that we can look forward to next week. I'll deal with his video. I'm gonna look through some more, but right now that's the video that I want to tackle. I want to do a live refutation of that video on taqiyya, unless something else comes up in the news. All right. So we'll go ahead and end it there. It's almost about an hour that the show's been on. I appreciate you brothers and sisters tuning in on such a late notice, but appreciate it nonetheless. And again, before I leave, like I said, you can get the video Taqiyya, the lie they made against Islam, from my website. You can also, if you go to the video on YouTube, you can also, the link is there to get it. You can get my book, He Never Was God, How Scripture Shows That Jesus Was a Man Rather Than God. You can make a donation in the link in the description area. Both links you can make a donation at, or you can do the super chat. All right. And I'll say it again ahead of time. Whoever donated, if you donated tonight, may Allah reward you. We appreciate your help. We appreciate your donations. If you bought a copy of the book or the video, we appreciate it. And again, may Allah reward you. All right. It goes to helping us in being able to do more work in this area and to get more content out to you. All right. And basically, you know, this is how we can get the word out more, and inshallah step up our efforts. What's this, C.R. Edward Islam, Simone claim Islam. Well, I've heard the argument before, but I refuted that. I have some videos on my channel if you ever need evidence to refute them. If you ever need some evidence to refute them about that claim, go to my on this YouTube channel. I have some video. I did them a few years ago, but if you scroll back through my videos, I have some videos where I refute the claim that Muhammad was racist or that Islam is racist. I have some good information in those videos that you can use to refute them and rebuttal them, to show them that Islam is not racist. All right. So if you ever need help, if anybody needs help to answer those questions, just go on my channel, scroll back to my videos. You may have to scroll back. You know, it's kind of, you know, I did them a few years ago, but just scroll back and you'll see those videos, and those videos will help you. All right, those videos will help you to refute the claims that they make in that regard. All right, brothers and sisters. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. If there's no questions or anything, we'll wrap it up. I once again appreciate you tuning in to the show tonight, and don't forget, you have the ability to purchase the videos, the book, or make a donation. All right. Inshallah, I'll see you guys next Friday coming up. All right, have a good night or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. Assalamu alaikum.